Good afternoon, everyone. That was pretty good for a first time. Let's try it one more time. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh, that sounds even better. My name is Mark Stevens, and I'm going to be leading this workshop for you today. Before we get started, some of you have heard this now it's a corny joke, but it's a very serious, is I want you to take your cell phone, and I don't want you to put it on vibrate. I actually want you to turn it off. There's a button on your phone. Try to find that button. If you need any help, I'll come over and tell you where that button is. It's usually on the side. So go ahead and turn off your cell and then put it away. Don't even have it on your desk. Put it away. I will check in with you every once in a while just to see how you're doing. If anybody starts to shake because you don't have your cell phone on, I'll come over. I'm a psychologist. I'll help you out a little bit. So usually there's one person. Let's see if we can go the whole workshop without one person sneaking it. You know, as professors, we know. We're looking at you and you're going down like this. We go, I don't think they're doing these neck exercises. So we know that. Let me see if we can go the whole time without one of you looking at your cell phone, sneaking it out there, waiting for that all-important text to come in of, how are you? All right? Thank you for laughing at my joke. So there's a couple ground rules that I have. One, you've already started to do that. It's important that you laugh at my jokes. All right? If you don't laugh at my jokes, I'll say it was a joke, because sometimes my jokes aren't very obvious. Number two, you've already done this. You've put away your cell phones. It will allow you to maximize your ability to focus and concentrate. By the way, it's a really good thing to do while you're studying and concentrating on your schoolwork, is to put it away, because those things are like distraction magnets. You keep on looking at it and it takes you away from your task. And then number three, let me check this out with you guys. Can you all raise your right hand? Okay, can you all raise your left hand? All right, good. I just want to make sure that your arms are working, because when I ask for volunteers, I already know now that you're able to raise your hands. One of those corny jokes, you can kind of go, ugh. You don't have to laugh. Sometimes you can just go, ooh, that's because my kids do that to me all the time. They just go, ooh. So today, this is the third workshop in a series of 3 workshops that's sponsored by the Excel program. Excel stands for Experiencing Confidence and Enjoyment of Learning. We are taping today's workshop because we know this is going to be an unbelievable student audience. And we're also going to be using this for training purposes down the road. What we found out by doing these workshops, that students improved considerably and passed 092, 093, 097 at a much higher rate than students that did not go to this workshop. In fact, I went into 6 workshops one semester, 6 classes one semester, and the students that participated in these workshops passed at 90%. We're doing these workshops because we know it is not your intelligence that is interfering with your passing 092, 093, or 097. There's some other things that might be contributing. How many of you have been to one of the workshops so far? Terrific. How many of you have been to 2 of the workshops so far? Even better. And how many of you have been to one of the workshops that I've offered already? Okay. So today's workshop, we're titling it The Wind Beneath My Sail. The my is all of you. Let me bring you into the room why we are doing this workshop and why we're calling it this workshop. We've got, Andrea, is it 4 weeks left in the semester? 4 weeks left in the semester. I can imagine that you guys are starting to feel just a little bit drained. How many of you feel just at least a little bit drained? It's been a long semester. How many of you work outside? Yeah. How many of you have a pretty far commute to come to campus? How many of you have other obligations that you're taking care of, parents or grandparents or family members? Yeah. Those are all things that contribute to you being just a little bit drained, besides all the schoolwork and the attention that you've been giving to your classes. So what we thought is that we want to give you just a little bit of a push, a little bit of momentum. And so we're calling this the wind beneath my sail. What is wind? Those of you who remember from your science class, what is wind called? It's a type of what? What is it? What does it produce? Take a guess. You don't have to be right. Yes. Energy. You got it. How many? Now I want the honest truth. How many of you were thinking of energy but didn't have the courage to raise your hand? You're the only one that thought. Give her a round of applause. By the way, I don't believe these guys that they weren't thinking about energy. I just think that they got a little bit gun shy or a little bit shy to raise your hand. It's energy. So today we're going to look at energy. And where did I put my cell phone? I need my cell phone. Oh, here it is. All right. Phew. Now, we all need to keep our energy going, and sometimes when we have a goal ahead of us, we want to find some energy. I'm going to tell you a personal story about when I was in graduate school, kind of a really funny way that I found energy. Some people may call it kind of goofy way of finding energy. So I had 2 years left in graduate school. I'd already been in 2 years, and I had 2 years left, and I'm kind of feeling a little bit drained. And I came up with this idea is I'm going to practice writing my name with a PhD after it, just to see what it looked like. And I practiced, I did it this way, that way. Now, of course, I could not use PhD because I didn't have my PhD yet, but I wanted to imagine. I wanted to look forward. I wanted to see what it was going to be like. And it offered me some wind. Well, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing now. Not to write your name with a PhD on it, because that's a little bit farther down the road. But I'm going to ask you to imagine your graduation day. And I'm going to play a song called Pomp and Circumstances. Anybody remember Pomp and Circumstances? When I say it to you, you'll know. Dun, 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 dun. You guys remember that? So I'm going to play that song to you. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, which is very dangerous because you might fall asleep. If you do fall asleep, I'm going to ask somebody next to you to kind of gently nudge you. If you start to drool, we'll wake you up and just kind of, if your neighbor starts to drool, just do one of these really quickly, okay? So it's going to take about maybe 3 minutes or so. I'm going to want you to imagine. I'm going to read to you a scenario. Picture yourself as much as you can. Again, the idea is we want you to find some wind right now. There's 4 weeks left. We want you to kind of find that extra energy. You guys with me? You ready? All right. This is why I needed my cell phone. Because I'm going to play it on here. All right. All right, guys, go ahead, close your eyes, get yourself relaxed, and pay attention to my voice. I want you all to imagine that today is the day of your CSUN graduation. You're wearing your cap and gown and getting ready to walk to your seat in front of the stage. Take a moment. Notice, what do you hear? The band playing, the chatter of excited friends and family in the audience. What do you feel? Notice the air and the sun shining on you. Notice the flowers and the smell of the flowers. What do you think you might be feeling emotionally in that moment as you anticipate walking across the stage? Now you're standing and lining up, about to hear your name called. Who's in the audience cheering for you? What might you tell other friends and family who couldn't be there today about this experience? And who's cheering you on from afar? Your name is called, and you're slowly walking across the stage. You're handed the diploma and shake hands with the dean of the college. What are you feeling in that moment? And what are you most proud of in your time at CSUN? You've overcome a lot of things to get here. Who can you hear cheering for you in that moment? You slowly walk off the stage. You return to your seat with diploma in hand, a graduate of California State University, Northridge. When you're ready, go ahead and open up your eyes, return back into the room. Did we lose anybody? We okay? Nobody? All right. I thought I was going to lose at least one. There's people back here I thought I might lose, but we did not. Okay. Who is going to have family and friends at your graduation that is going to be really, really loud when you walk across the stage? We know those. How many of your family is going to sneak in one of those woo horns? Or yeah, all right. Who's going to be at your graduation? Raise your hand. Or maybe, you know what? You don't even have to raise. Just shout it out. Who's going to be at your graduation? Uncle, Mom, Dad, brothers, sisters. Who else? Friends, grandparents. Who said grandparents? I love grandparents at graduation. How many of you are going to have a grandma or grandpa at the graduation? I love it. I walk and just watch graduation, and I love seeing some of the older folks kind of walk. They're so proud. How many of you have been to a CSUN graduation? You have? Whose graduation did you go to?
My friend.
Your friend?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was phenomenal.
It was what?
It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Yes. Just you felt the energy in the spirit. So, this is a little bit of wind. It's okay to imagine. We don't want that to be pressure on you, but like writing the PhD, go ahead and imagine when you start to feel yourself draining a little bit. Imagine this day. Keep it in. Remind yourself about what your goal is, what your purpose is. for putting in all the hard work and making all the sacrifices that you do. So, there's some other ways that we can create energy. We can create wind. We can do it internally from ourselves, like the imagining. I've got one other idea that I'd like to put out there for you all to imagine, to experiment with, and then we're going to have some fun with it. You all have had what I call proud learning moments. So what's a proud learning moment? A proud learning moment is something that you thought you weren't going to be able to do. You had some doubts about yourself. You knew it wasn't going to be easy. But you decided, I'm not going to let my doubts interfere. How many of you, English is your second language? Didn't come very easy. How many of you have learned to play a musical instrument? Did not come very easy. How many of you have learned to tie your shoes? Yeah. For me, it came kind of difficult, but finally I got it. You've had exams, you've had courses, you've had physical activities that you just didn't think you were going to be able to do, but you set your mind to do it. You didn't let anything get in your way, and you had one of these, what I call a woo-hoo, proud learning moment. You felt, maybe you didn't do that, but you felt like doing it. Internally you were going, yeah, I got it. And why I want you to remember your own personal proud learning moment, and you've had many of them, is that could be wind. Because it's a kind of a recipe around how to move through when you're feeling a little bit drained. You can remember that pride that I can do it. And I want to bring that closer to you, because oftentimes we end up forgetting about it. So what I'm going to ask you to do now, just by yourself, and then we're going to break up into pairs, is that I want you to remember what your proud learning moment was. So take a couple minutes, think about one that you want to share with one of your neighbors. All right, so go ahead and take a couple minutes. Try to remember it, and then I'll give you the next instructions. I can see your brains working. The room is heating up a little bit. How many of you need a little bit more time? Okay. So what I want you to do now is to find one other person next to you, introduce yourself, and then share with them what your proud learning moment was. Talk about it a little bit. Don't just say, oh, I'm proud that I learned how to do X, but talk about the process of what it was like, why it's become a proud learning moment. So go ahead and break off into a pair. If any of you need some help pairing up, I will be the matchmaker for you. All right? Go ahead. All right. You too? Sure. Go ahead. sound of your voices. It's just like music. It's much better than the sound of the texting. That does not sound as good as your voices. You guys did a wonderful, wonderful job. Now, here comes the easy part. I need 3 volunteers. And what we're going to do with the volunteers, so that everybody can learn from you all and relate to you all, I'm going to interview you about your proud learning moment. We're going to have some fun with it. I'm going to ask you questions. You know the answers, so it's going to be an easy interview. So I need 3 people to interview. So I'm going to count to 3, and then go ahead and raise your hand. If there's a whole bunch, I'll try to see who's the first one to go on up. So if you really want, maybe cheat a little bit, and when I say 2, go like that. All right. So who would like to be interviewed and take courage and give me an early Thanksgiving present? All right? 1, 2, 3. Who would like to volunteer? All right. 1. Oh. 1. Thank you. What's your name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. We've got 1. Elizabeth. We've got 2. And we've got 3. What's your name?
Terrell.
Terrell?
Jason or Teddy?
Jason or Teddy? All right. There's a story there, because Jason, Teddy, although anyways, we'll get to the story. All right. We'll get to the story. So, Elizabeth, since you volunteered first, come on up. Yes. Again, everybody give a round of applause for Elizabeth. Okay, imagine you're walking into our Excel 60-minute studio. All right. Let's see. You pick a chair. Which chair would you like? Yeah? No. This is a better. That's. You took the risk. You get the comfortable one. All right. I've got my set of questions that I am going to ask Elizabeth. Okay, Elizabeth. Here they are. Okay. Now, Terrell, Jason, Teddy, guess what? I'm going to ask you the same questions. So, you get a little bit easier than Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I'm sorry, you volunteered first and you get, but you're going to know. Okay, you're ready. All right. So, in reflecting on your proud learning moment, Elizabeth, what kind of doubts did you have? A lot. Okay. What kind of a lot doubts did you have?
So this was like kind of related to my class. It
Okay.
was last semester, so.
Oh, by the way, don't tell us what the proud learning moment is, because we're going to do a drum roll at the end. So
Okay.
we won't. You haven't given too much out. So what were your doubts?
That I was going to fail the class.
I was going to fail the class.
Yes.
Okay. And how did you decide to not let these doubts stop you from going for it?
I just change my mindset, and I tried to go to tutoring center.
Okay. I changed my mindset.
Yes.
I went and I asked for help. Tell me about how you changed your mindset, because that's really interesting to me.
It just took me a process, because it was something that I've been through before. So
Okay.
I feel and I already chose the right part.
Okay.
There's always this 2 sides of feelings.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you can make it, and the other was no, you can't. So I chose the right part because I already had this feeling in the past, and when I followed that path, I did great.
Yeah.
So yeah, because of because of the feeling I've had in the past, I was able to choose the right part.
So you accessed the feeling that you had in the past, what you call the right part of you can do it rather than I'm going to fail. And you started to listen to that.
Yes.
And then you also, it sounded like you started to say, I figured this out before, I can figure it out again.
Right.
Good. And you already led me to this question, but who and when did you ask for help?
Who and when did I ask for help?
Yeah.
After I failed the first exam.
After you failed the first exam? Okay, so this is going some really good places. I like where we're going on this. So and then who did you ask for help?
I went to tutoring center.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also asked the professor, but it wasn't enough because we are limited to certain time, certain minutes, and
Yeah.
there's other students as well. So I had to go to tutoring center myself.
You went to tutoring and you went and you asked for help from your professor, and you, even though you thought maybe, oh, there's not enough time here, you found some other ways. Terrific. And what kind of sacrifices did you make?
Sleep.
Sleep was one of your sacrifices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is not a good one, but also food.
Food? Okay.
Because I like to have fun when I eat. I take my time, but
Yeah.
I have to cut down, all those fun moments and just put more effort into studying.
Okay, so food just became putting in calories.
Second,
Yeah.
priority.
Second priority.
Yes.
Other sleep, food, any other sacrifices?
Social life.
Social life? Okay, so you were able to, you had to say no to certain social invitations. And if you were to describe, Elizabeth, your effort, how would you describe it?
I think it was great. I was able to find this trend where I thought there's nothing that exists before. I was able to revive it. So it was I think I would say great. I mean, I don't know, lack of a better word, but great.
It was great. You found it.
Yes.
And it sounded like as you started to build some momentum. Now you mentioned this before, is what examples of persistence are part of this proud learning moment? So persistence, is like you didn't get it right away and you didn't let that just stop you. So you said that you failed the first. How did you decide not to give up after you failed?
Okay, like I said in the past, so this is 2 classes. So
Okay.
it's you're taking 92 and 93.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a C on the first one.
Okay.
And I'm a pre-med student.
Okay.
So I want to prove myself right, and at the same time also prove when I apply to medical school, so
Yes.
that they can see, even though I did fail the first, not like I failed, I got a C, but
Okay.
that I did try on the second one.
Okay.
So because I got D on the first exam, I was like, no, I am not getting D in this class.
Okay.
So I just, put in my effort and, with the persistency, I was able to.
Yeah. So you got up and you started to learn the material.
Exactly. Use my textbooks.
Okay.
Yeah. Go online.
Yeah.
Stay till 12 a.m. until the library closes. Yeah, that's one of the sacrifices I made.
And thank you for that. And how did your attitude play into the proud learning moment? Yeah. So what kind of internal messages? You've mentioned this already, but maybe because they were so great, I want to hear them again. What were your internal messages that sort of kept you going towards that proud learning moment?
Because, like I said, I'm a pre-med student, and I know what it, how competitive it is out
Yes.
there. So I always look at the bigger picture and always look at the hand, what it would feel like to be a honor student also.
Okay.
So those are the things that kind of keep, push me.
It
They give
boosted
me,
you.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Terrific. And then, last but not least, how does this proud learning moment impact you today?
In a very good way. I mean, I feel like I cannot talk about this just to help students. I'm actually a tutor, and whenever I come across a student that they cannot, it seems like they already gave up in that class. They just want to show up. I just talk to them I've been like you. I'm still I've been there, and at the same time I'm still going through the same process. It's just that I've had experiences in the past that have made me proud. So I really want to use that, utilize it. So I just use it as a source of inspiration for people, just to let them know what it really feels like when you achieve something think you cannot achieve, and it's just sort of a reflection that you can go back to and just like, you know what, I did this, I can
So
still
you're
do it.
wearing it proud,
Yeah.
you're accessing it, and you're using it.
Yeah.
So let's do a drum roll for Elizabeth. Everybody drum roll. What is your proud learning moment that you'd like to share?
That I got an A on physics.
You got an A on physics.
I had it up there.
Woo! Everybody a round of applause. Elizabeth, great job.
Thank you.
Great job. Terrell, come on up. Hello again. All right. Everybody, round of applause for Terrell. Make yourself comfortable. Good. All right, Terrell. So in remembering this proud learning moment, the first question that I'd like to ask you is, what kind of doubts did you have before you committed to this learning? Remember, don't tell us what it is, because we want a surprise.
Let's see, it was the first day of school. Let's see, so I went in class. I tried to do what my teacher told me to do. And just on that first day and forever on, I was mostly just struggling. I just couldn't understand the concept of
Okay.
it. I was like, is this really for me? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Is this really for me? Am I going to be able to do it? So those were the doubts, like you were struggling and you those doubts started sounding like it started to get a little bit bigger in your head. Yeah. So how did you decide not to let those doubts stop you from going for it?
So even my teacher was actually seeing me struggle a little bit. So he came to me and he said, if you ever want to come at lunch and work this out, you can come to me. And really from that point on, everything else has been more easier, and I was just understanding everything he was teaching me.
So he reached out to you, your teacher, and it sounded like you started to build some confidence.
Yes.
That you started to get it. So you started, that voice of that doubt started to go down. And so your teacher offered you help. Did you also seek help from other sources?
My grandpa, my friends, my grandpa, he taught me other ways of doing the work I was doing in the
Okay.
classroom. And then also my friends, they helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Mostly we had study sessions, you could say.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you weren't, whatever kind of shyness that you might have had or embarrassment, you didn't let that get in your way, and you decided to ask for help from a lot of different resources.
Yes.
Yeah, good for you. Well, Terrell, what kind of sacrifices did you have to make?
Not spending time with my family, that's one. Not socializing, that was a big one. I wasn't able to eat food, I wasn't able to sleep. There was a lot of sacrifices.
There are some big sacrifices, kind of similar to Elizabeth, the food and the sleep and letting go of some of your social kind of probably desires that you had.
Yes.
If you would describe your effort, how would you describe it? Is there a word that would describe your efforts?
Mostly striving.
Striving.
Yes.
Great word. I love it. How about a attitude that would describe, is there a word that would describe your attitude?
Attitude. Mostly felt proud, really.
Okay.
Just coming out from all that, it gave me helping my teacher, my friends, and my family. It's just making me just feel more proud of myself and to keep doing my best.
So feeling proud, feeling more confident in yourself. And I would imagine that just because you started to ask for help, it didn't come easy to you like that. So how did you deal with it not always coming easy. That's kind of a story of persistence, that you don't get it right away, but you bounce back up.
Bouncing back up, it was hard. So again, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do any of that stuff. But later, I put myself on a schedule.
Okay.
I had to just, like I said, know what specific time to work, what my teacher has given me, and then so that I'll have more time to later and after my work to socialize, eat, sleep, and talk about that too.
So it sounds like you learned a lesson around time management too, and getting organized. Yeah, very good. All right, let's give Terrell well, we can do a round of applause. Yeah, no problem. Now let's do a drum roll, because we're all ready and excited. All right, Terrell.
It was playing the guitar for me.
Playing the guitar. All right. Oh, I wish we had a guitar. All right, good job. Now a round of applause. For those of you that have tried to learn a musical instrument, it is so easy to give up. And you still playing?
Yes, to tell you the truth, back in I think, April or March, let's see, I found out I got accepted here to the music program over here.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, if I never got accepted to the music program over here, I wouldn't be here today.
That's another round of applause. So this story about guitar has a lot of meaning to you. All right. Will you promise to invite me to one of your concerts? You promise? It's on tape. I'm going to come and find you. All right. We got witnesses. Yeah. And anybody else that wants to be invited to Terrell's concert, you let him know, and he'll. You got to do it with me the old-fashioned way, through email. Other people probably do it through the whatever social media. Teddy, can I call you Teddy? Yeah. Come on up, Teddy. I like Teddy. Jason?
Yeah.
Teddy. All right. So the first is, how did you get the name Jason or Teddy?
Jason's my real name. I
Yeah.
was born with it.
Okay.
And then Teddy, it was when I joined football.
Okay.
It was end of my freshman year, and beginning of middle sophomore.
Yeah.
I was more chubbier and chunky and
Okay.
adorable, I guess. And my first day joining football, my future JV coach
Yeah.
was walking by us like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, my name is I'm going to be your coach."
Yeah.
When he came to me, he stopped. He took a couple seconds to look around and was like, "Hey, what's your name?" "Oh, Jason." "Oh, do you have any nickname?" "No, but can I have a gamer nickname?" "No, we're gonna call you Teddy." I said, "Why?" "Because you look innocent, you look adorable, you look like you don't do anything bad, and you look friendly." I said, "Okay."
It's a teddy bear.
Yeah, and my whole team, like my future teammates, like, "Hey, Teddy." And for now, I had it for about like 5 years, 6 years already.
All right. Well, I'll go back and forth, Jason, Teddy, but it's on tape, so they'll know if it, yeah. So, Teddy, in reflecting back on your proud learning moment, remember not to tell anybody, we'll wait for the drum roll at the end. What kind of doubts did you have going into this task that you wanted to learn?
Like I like the outside, I didn't study for it, or I didn't study enough for it. I was like, okay, I didn't put enough time in it, or I don't remember it.
Okay.
I just don't trust my guts at first.
Okay.
And I just like blindly guess about it.
Okay. And now, how did you get over? How did you not let these doubts stop you from going for it?
Because I got angry,
Okay.
annoyed,
Yeah.
and a challenge about it.
I got angry, annoyed, and a challenge. He goes, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna let these doubts interfere.
Yeah.
Good. And did you ask for help to navigate this process?
Yeah.
What kind of help did you ask?
I asked my teacher,
Okay.
can I get some help somehow? And she gave me a worksheet,
Yeah.
and like everyday worksheet, and so I could practice on it. And to connect with the other help I had was my mom.
Okay.
Because my mom saw me how I struggle a lot, and she doesn't see me at work a lot.
Yeah.
She go to my school and say, give her more work.
Okay.
I was like, oh.
Oh, no.
I was
Mom.
like, and then she sit right next to me like, you better do your work. I said, okay, I'm just working.
Okay. So you put yourself in a position, but you were open to getting help from others. Yeah, good for you. And the sacrifice question, what kind of sacrifices did you need to make to get to where you wanted to go?
Well, for me, my biggest sacrifice,
Yeah.
and I was born with it, I guess, is my gaming life.
Okay.
Because I grew up with gaming when
Yeah.
I was like 1 year old or a couple months.
Okay.
So I had gaming. So when I sacrificed that, I felt like sad and like, I can't do it.
Okay, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You did make some sacrifices so
Yeah.
that you can put more time and effort into what you were wanting to learn.
Yeah.
Most proud learning moments, by the way, have something to do with a sacrifice. There's no easy shortcut to it. It will take a sacrifice. And if you could describe your effort in one word, what would that word be?
Angry, like I said.
Angry,
Yeah.
kind of motivated.
Mhm.
Angry, motivated. Now, did you get it right away, or did you?
It took me time.
It took you time.
It took me a couple of times, and it took me a lot of guesses. It took me to understand the steps and
Okay.
sometimes a shortcut, but sometimes a shortcut was bad, and I said, okay,
Okay.
I had to redo it.
So you had to figure it out. So there was persistence. You didn't get it right away. Again, in all proud learning moments, most people don't get it right away. You fall down a little bit, and you have to pick yourself back up. It almost 99% of the time, it takes some kind of persistence. And if you were to describe a kind of one-word attitude, what would that be?
Happy.
Happy. Okay. Now the last question. How do you use that proud learning moment now in terms of passing the math course that you're in? How are you going to use that as a recipe, as a motivator?
Like, I keep like, okay, I need to keep reviewing on the work I have and look at the test as a professor. And then I was like, okay, I need to work harder. And I know that I didn't get the first time right, but the next time I'll work harder, and the next time I'll get better and better and better.
Okay.
And at the same time, my professor told me, like, you didn't fail it, the test or your work. You made mistakes.
Mhm.
The mistakes meant to me to improve on it.
Yeah. So you're having like a really positive growth mindset around when you get pass, and you're using this proud learning moment as a motivator, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Teddy, Jason, let's do a drum roll. And your proud learning moment.
It was in elementary school.
Elementary school?
All times table chart.
The what?
Times table chart.
Times table chart. All right, round of applause. You know, some of you may want to go back to elementary school. One of my best learning moments was in elementary school that we can remember. Before we wrap up, if you could give me just 2 more minutes, because I really want to acknowledge Jason, Teddy, Terrell, and Elizabeth one more time for taking the risk. I'm going to say this even though it's on tape. I could get in trouble. I won't get fired, but I could get in trouble. When you volunteer in class, when you raise your hand, your professors like it. We have egos. We're salespeople. We're trying to sell you information. And when you buy our product, which is knowledge, we like it. And Terrell, if it's between an A- and a B+ in my class, I'm remembering this guy came up, he volunteered, you're getting an A-. Remember that. Don't be afraid to raise your hand. And the last part of this win, we're going to do it very quickly, are the people that are supporting you. The people that are your role models. The people that you look up to. The people that if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here. And so when you're feeling a little bit tired and a little bit drained, bring those people into the room. If you can, give them a phone call. Remember them. So let me ask you to remember these folks that have been a great inspiration to you and that are continuing to be a great inspiration. How many have a mom that's an inspiration to you? How many of you have a dad that's an inspiration to you? How many of you have a sibling that's an inspiration to you? How many of you have, this is my favorite, because I love my grandma. How many of you have a grandma that's an inspiration? I love grandmas. How many, I love my grandfather too. How many of you have a grandpa that's an inspiration? How many of you have a friend that's an inspiration? I want you to think about those people and why they're such an inspiration to you. They've said something to you. They believe in you. They've encouraged you even when you're down. Sometimes they push you, like your mom. Sit next to you, get it done. It's out of love. They care about you. That's another form of energy. Another form of win for yourself. Yeah. We have a special guest that's going to be on tape. Come on up, Dr. Kate Stevenson. Kate is the director, the big cheese as we call her.
Thanks.
The big boss of developmental math. And she is the one that has inspired us looking at hugging you, loving you, caring about you in ways that we want you to pass, and has been really quite supportive of the Excel program. So
thank you so much, Mark. I've learned a tremendous amount from working with Mark. I am a mathematician, and I am the daughter of a mathematician, so you could say I'm second generation, kind of geeky. Doesn't make us the most open people on earth. But I have one little secret. I am the daughter of a social worker as well. My mom's a social worker. So I am genetically incapable of avoiding large social issues that involve mathematics. So here I am, and I embrace this. Nothing in my career, I've written papers, I've given talks at fancy conferences. Nothing I've done in my life has given me as much satisfaction as working in developmental math and watching this program evolve and shrink. I'm the only person who will be successful in their job if I make myself not have a job. Okay, so those early start classes that you all engaged in, those are all efforts to try and make you as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. And we really, really believe in you. I want you to understand that. The developmental math program doesn't have graduate students. It doesn't have upper division courses. Every single penny we have is spent to help you realize that you belong here. We checked you out already. My job is not to decide whether you belong here. My job is to help you thrive here. And everybody who works for me, who stays working for me, believes that. Do they show it to you every single day on every single action? Do you show people your best self every single day in every single action? Possibly not. So if something happens where it wasn't the best interaction in the whole world, I want you to think of this gentleman here and what he would tell you to do. He would tell you to stand up and say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable and I really need your help. And to diffuse that situation and pull that help to you, because we are trying our best to be our best selves, but you know, we all have bad days. Okay, so but do know that we love you. We want you to stay here. You're the heart and soul of this university. So please pull us towards you at every opportunity. Thank you so much for being here.
So, Kate, we can give them a group hug. We haven't done this before. This is a group hug to all you all. I have worked at many different universities. You are by far my most favorite students of any university I have ever worked at. I just love where you're coming from. I love your hearts. I love your desire. And we want you very much to be a proud graduate of California State University, Northridge. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.